With the 2021 and 22 NBA season starting in less than a week as I'm recording this video, it's time for me to give you guys my award predictions for this upcoming season. So this video is going to be pretty self-explanatory. What I'm going to be doing is obviously going through those 6 main awards that are given out at the end of each NBA season, predicting who I think is going to win each one. I'm going to go in depth on my decision on who I think is going to win each one. I'm also going to give my 2 runner-ups. I'm not going to go in depth with that. Those of you that watch the channel, you know that I really like to go in depth a lot of the time, but I won't be doing that with the runner-ups today. If you guys have any questions about them, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments, but I'm going to be going in depth of who I think is going to win each award. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. First, let's start off with the Rookie of the Year award, and there's no surprise with my pick here. Definitely not a hot take. Probably a lot of you will agree with this one. I'm going to go with Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons, and he's already coming into a rebuilding situation here with this Pistons team, of course, and honestly, even though he's coming in as a rookie, he's the first overall pick this year. He's got a lot of hype. He's got a lot of versatility out there on the court, and is probably going to be the #1 option on this team, definitely their starting point guard, and especially because of this, I definitely expect a lot out of him. When we look at what he did in college, obviously showing his overall skill set, his frame as a 6'8" point guard obviously makes it incredibly hard for opposing defenses against him, and like I said, he can really do anything out there on the court. Last year with Oklahoma State, he showed his scoring ability, averaging 20 points per game on NBA average efficiency. He showed how good of a shooter he can be, creating his own shot off the dribble a lot of the time and shooting 40% from 3. He showed how good of a playmaker and passer he can be out there on the floor. He can definitely run a team's offense even in the NBA, and he's a good defender as well. His 6'8" frame, like I mentioned, makes him versatile on the defensive end of the floor. He can guard 1 through 4, a very good perimeter defender, and he did all of this last year on the offensive side of the floor with pretty bad spacing on this Oklahoma State team. And Cade also has kind of that maturity to him. He seems like a very mature guy and a very mature player on the court as well. He makes a lot of good decisions on the court and can pretty much, like I said, do everything. He has a very versatile skill set, and I think what he's doing in college will definitely translate over to the NBA. A guy like Jalen Green is going to be a close runner-up, but Cade is much more versatile than Jalen Green. Jalen's probably the better scorer by a little bit, but I think Cade is pretty much a little bit better at everything else, and I'll give this slight edge to him for now. Obviously, Jalen Green is one of my runner-ups, and my other runner-up is Scotty Barnes, who I think will fit into his role very well with the Toronto Raptors as kind of a secondary playmaker and a very valuable defender for them. Let's move on to the 6th Man of the Year award, and I think the winner of this one is actually going to be Derrick Rose of the New York Knicks. And as any NBA fan knows, D Rose's career has been a complete roller coaster, but he's finally fully healthy right now with the Knicks. And last year, despite it being a small sample size of 5 games in the playoffs in that series against the Atlanta Hawks, he truly played like the best player on that team and came off the bench, and he was really in a good role coming off of the bench, being the main point guard off of the bench and running that offense. And I think he's going to stay in that role this year, be the 6th man for this team, and really come out and continue that momentum that he had in the playoffs last year, really facilitating a lot and very effectively. And I think honestly he might be able to average around 18 to 20 points per game this year if he's able to stay fully healthy. He could basically do that the entire season, be a very effective scorer around the rim like he always has, continue to improve that mid-range shot of his, and really be the best playmaker on this team as well. We saw last year just how good of a facilitator and playmaker Derrick Rose can be when he's not in the role as the exactly the main guy on the team, but when he's coming off of the bench and playing with a second unit, he can absolutely be that main facilitator and create a lot of open shots for his teammates and really draw a lot of double teams in the paint and be a very good overall playmaker. He also showed last year that he's absolutely improving on the defensive end of the floor with his great perimeter defense, his ability to affect 3-point shots and contest them very effectively, and his overall game is coming to a very good point right now. And while he's not obviously playing at the same MVP level that he was earlier in his career, I think he's in a very good role right now with the New York Knicks, and I truly think that he's going to win the 6th Man of the Year award this season. My runner-ups for this one are Jordan Clarkson, who won it last year. I expect him to probably keep up what he was doing scoring-wise, putting about 18 to 20 points per game on decent efficiency, but I don't think the other aspects of his game will be as good as Derrick Rose. I don't think he'll be as impactful of a player this year as I'm expecting Rose to be. And my other runner-up is Jordan Poole, who I think will be a very good role player for the Warriors this season and have somewhat of a breakout season as well. Now, I'm briefly going to talk about the Coach of the Year award here as well, and obviously this one is very tough to predict, but generally the coaches that win Coach of the Year a lot of the time are either the coaches of the best team in the league or teams that overperform, and I think teams that will overperform expectations this year is a team like the New York Knicks, coached by Tom Thibodeau. I made a whole video about them and why I actually think they're legitimate championship contenders this season. Also, Greg Popovich, who's obviously one of the greatest coaches of all time and hasn't gotten a lot of talks recently as being that, but I think the Spurs will also overperform this season and overperform expectations by a lot. I also made a video on them and their underrated young core and how I think Popovich will really allow these players to develop as well. And also Steve Nash, I think it's pretty clear that the Nets are still probably the best team in the Eastern Conference. I do think they will get that 1 seed, and Steve Nash will get a lot of credit for it, like he will deserve, because he's really done a great job on both ends of the floor with this team. Even last season, just having them be together as a unit on the offensive end of the floor, having a great offensive system with lots of ball movement, cutting, screening, all that good stuff that you love to see as a coach, and their defense has been improving as well. So I think these three are going to be the main candidates here, and in terms of the winner, I'm going to go with Tom Thibodeau, as I think he's really going to keep up that great defensive system that they had last season and prove that this Knicks team is still a very legit contending team going into this season. When we talk about the most improved player award, I think the winner of this one would be Michael Porter Jr. Again, I know I've referenced some of my past videos in this video already, but I just recently made a video on why I think MPJ will have a breakout season this year, and ultimately I've come to the decision that I think he's going to win the most improved player award ultimately as well. And just to summarize what I said in that video, he's going to have a bigger role with Jamal Murray out for a lot of this season. He's already put up historic efficiency numbers for a guy with his play style, shooting a lot of threes, sometimes coming off of the dribble and shooting pull-up threes, and kind of being a role player that plays a lot on the perimeter. Last year, he shot 54% from the field and 44.5% from three, and still did this with Jamal Murray out. And when Jamal Murray was out last season, he put up about 24 points per game during that last stretch of the season, compared to his 19 points per game over the course of the rest of that season. And I think he's going to keep up that pace when he's the second option on this team alongside Nikola Jokic, of putting up nearly 25 points per game. And that's what I think he's going to do this season, is really be the secondary scorer on this team, score at an all-star level, and also improve some of the other aspects of his game as well. Like I said, be sure to check out the video for more in-depth analysis on MPJ, but I do think he's going to win MIP this year, and I think runner-ups for this one will be DeJounte Murray, who is also going to have the bigger role and kind of be the number one option on that Spurs team. I think he's going to improve offensively, scoring-wise, be the main facilitator and playmaker on the team, and keep up what he's been doing defensively. And my other candidate for this one here is Mikal Bridges, who kind of same thing as MPJ. Last year shot over 50% from the field and over 40% from three, was a top 20 defender in the game, and if he gets more touches and more opportunities this season, which I definitely think he will, because I think the Suns definitely see the potential in him, he could also take a very good offensive leap as well next season. Now getting into the two main awards. For the first one here, the Defensive Player of the Year award, I think this one this year will go to Anthony Davis. I mean, I think over the last 2 years, when AD has been fully healthy, I truly do think that he has been the #1 best defender in the NBA, and he just hasn't gotten credit for it, with Giannis winning it in 2020, and last year obviously being in and out of the lineup, having very serious injuries, and definitely not playing a fully healthy season last year. But when we look at AD's defense, he's absolutely one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. He's versatile enough to definitely hold his own on the perimeter against smaller guards and be a good on-ball defender against pretty much anyone out there on the floor. And the Lakers' defensive system really runs through him, and he's also a very good pick-and-roll defender. He's one of, if not the very best pick-and-roll defenders in the league. I mean, his defensive IQ is just so good. He always knows what he's doing, especially in that main play in the pick-and-roll, and he does a very good job of neutralizing that play and being able to cover in any type of coverage that he's asked to do in the pick and roll. So overall, I truly do think he's the best defender in the NBA, and if he's able to stay fully healthy this season, he will be recognized for that by winning the Defensive Player of the Year this season. And my runner-ups for this one are Bam Adebayo, who I think is the most versatile defender in the NBA and still a very good rim protector, and also OG Anunoby, who's been progressing as a defender over the last few years, is absolutely a top 10 defender in the game right now, can pretty much defend 1 through 5, is incredibly versatile on the defensive end of the floor, and I think he'll continue to improve this season and show just how good of a clamper he is. And lastly, we got the MVP award, the biggest award of all, and I saved this one for last for a couple reasons. I have an extremely hot take with who I think is going to win this award this season. And up to this point in the video, probably a lot of you guys have agreed with at least a few of my takes and my predictions here, as I haven't really had a lot of hot takes in the video so far, but I've got an extremely hot take with this one. I think that the MVP winner this season will be Zion Williamson. This is a take right here that probably none of you watching this video will agree with, and obviously, like I said, it's an extremely hot take, but I am definitely confident in it. And even though Zion will probably miss the first week or two of this season, I am still sticking by this prediction. I made an entire video about this and why I think Zion will win MVP this season, so I'm not going to talk about this one at all today. If you guys do want to check out that video, feel free to go ahead and just hear me out with this take so that you can see my perspective on it. But that's my bold take for this video. I think Zion will win MVP this season. My runners-up for this award are going to be Luka Doncic, who I think will emerge and prove that he's the future, probably best or second best player in the league. Still shows incredible scoring ability, how he can be one of the best ISO players in the league, and probably still one of the best playmakers as well. And then I've also got Steph Curry, who I think will keep up what he was doing last season, be the best shooter in the league still, of course, be one of the best scorers and one of the best playmakers as well. So those are my takes on the awards going into the 2022 NBA season. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Comment down below your thoughts on today's video and who you think are going to win the awards for this upcoming NBA season, and I'll see you all next video.